What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, as I told you guys, once again, it's come to fruition that undefeated unified 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Errol the True Spence Jr., who is widely considered by many to be top 2, if not number 1, definitely top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, with a record of 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'9.5", with a 72-inch arm reach. Errol Spence is scheduled to fight June 17th. And now it has been reported that Errol Spence has finalized the deal with former unified WBA, WBC welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who is 30 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 wins by way of knockout. Keith Thurman is 33 years of age, 5'8", with a 69-inch arm reach. That deal has been finalized, okay? That is a done deal. But it is a backup plan for Errol Spence. Should Errol Spence not be able to finalize a deal that he's looking to finalize a deal with, and that's a fight with undefeated 3-division world champion. Keith Thurman is 34 years of age, undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO, World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, is widely considered by many to be the number 1 best pound for pound fighter in the world, in Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is 39 wins, no loss, no draw, 30 wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'8", with a 74-inch arm reach. So Errol Spence and Terence Crawford are in the mix of trying to finalize a deal to face off against one another, okay? They're looking to face off against one another June 17th, okay? So they are in the final stages of the negotiations for Errol Spence and Terence Crawford to face one another June 17th. But in the instance that this fight does not come to fruition, okay, Keith Thurman will be Errol Spence's next opponent June 17th. As I told you guys when it was being mentioned that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford are going to fight June 17th. And I told you guys, with or without Terence Crawford, Errol Spence is going to fight June 17th, as he has a deal finalized with Keith Thurman, as Keith Thurman is the backup plan. So he will be facing Keith Thurman June 17th if for some reason that Terence Crawford fight doesn't come to fruition. If they can't finalize the deal with Terence Crawford and it doesn't come to fruition, then you will see Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence June 17th. And then more than likely you're going to see Terence Crawford face off against his WBO mandatory challenger in Alexis Roca, okay? Alexis Roca is the number 1 WBO challenger. He's with Golden Boy Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions. And they was talking about a potential fight between Terence Crawford and Alexis Roca already anyway, okay? So with that said, this is huge news, right? But I told you guys the return date for Errol Spence is more than likely going to be June 17th. Initially, they was looking at May, okay? They wanted it to be in May. But the negotiations with, it was going to be Keith Thurman in May. But the negotiations gained momentum and traction for Errol Spence and Errol Spence and Terence Crawford fight. And so obviously they're looking to secure that first, because that's what Errol Spence wants. Errol Spence has zero to little interest to no interest in truly fighting Keith Thurman. He'll fight Keith Thurman if he absolutely has no choice but to fight Keith Thurman, but that's not what Errol Spence wants to do. Errol Spence wants to fight Terence Crawford. Then Errol Spence wants to move up to junior middleweight, 154 pounds, where ironically enough, his stablemate and 3-time junior middleweight world champion, who's the undisputed junior middleweight world champion, superstar boxer, and top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world, and Jamel Lions Only Charlo, who is 35 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 19 wins by way of knockout. He is 32, about to be 33 years of age, 6 feet tall, with a 73.5-inch arm reach, okay? So Jamel Charlo, he recently stated that he would more than welcome an opportunity to fight Errol Spence if the money is right. If the bag is right, he'll fight Errol Spence, okay? With that said, Errol Spence wants to move up. He's already let it be known that It's not easy to make 147 pounds anymore. He's only sticking around for this Terence Crawford fight. He wants to secure the fight with Terence Crawford, and that that's his number one objective. If he can't get Terence Crawford next, he'll stick around 147 for 2 more fights, which would be a fight with Keith Thurman in June, and then the fight with Terence Crawford hopefully after that, right? So either which way, he can have 1 fight left. He fights and beats Terence Crawford. He's going up to 154. And if he beats Terence Crawford, he'll make himself the mandatory challenger for Jermell Charlo's either IBF or WBO titles. Okay? Now, Jermell Charlo, he has to satisfy his mandatory, which is Tim Tszyu. So he has to satisfy that mandatory. He's the undisputed champion. He satisfies that mandatory. Then Sebastian Fundora, the towering inferno, he is, also the WBC mandatory. So Jermell Charlo is going to have those fights that he's going to have to do away with and satisfy, which I believe he'll be victorious in both those fights. And Jermell Charlo, he's made it abundantly clear he has no plans to leave 154 pounds. He said he's going to stay in this division for his career. He has no interest in becoming a 2-division world champion or any of those things. So he said he's going to stay in this division for the duration of his career, which means that he and Errol Spence is going to eventually bump heads. And he says that he welcomed it. We know on multiple occasions now, Errol Spence has let it be known that he'll fight anybody, including Jermell Charlo. So don't be shocked if Errol Spence was to beat Terence Crawford. Well, he's not moving up to 154 to be a challenger, a lifelong challenger, especially if Jermell Charlo is stating that he's going to be a lifelong junior middleweight, super welterweight. That means that they're going to be on a collision course, and long-time, well-renowned trainer, 2-time trainer of the year, future Hall of Famer Derrick James, who trains Errol Spence, Derrick James is going to have to make a choice, which is going to be him choosing Errol Spence, right? He trains Jermell Charlo as well, so then he will be training Errol Spence, okay? So with that said, this is huge news. This is great news, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds and plays out. So looks like we're going to get Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, possibly in June 17th. If not, we definitely going to get Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman, which is already a done deal. So they already squared away all their business. It's a done deal. It's just a matter of if Terence Crawford is going to materialize, then Keith Thurman, Errol Spence is going to go by the wayside. Keith Thurman will wait for the fight to be over. He's the WBC mandatory challenger. Whoever wins is going to vacate the belts. If Terence Crawford beats Errol Spence, he's vacating the belts and he's moving up to 154. If Errol Spence beats Terence Crawford, he's vacating the belts and he's moving up to 154. So either which way it goes, Keith Thurman will be fighting for a vacant WBC title, which is going to be, Jaron Ennis is in line for the IBF. Manny Stanionis is in line for the WBA, and Virgil Ortiz was in line for the WBC. But now Virgil Ortiz was looking to fight Amanda Stanionis. That fell through. So we have to see how that unfolds. Keith Thurman is number 1 for the WBC. So Keith Thurman is number 1 for the WBC. And, maybe we get Virgil Ortiz versus Keith Thurman versus Jaron Ennis. Who knows? But we'll know. If they fight June 17th, we'll know who Jaron Ennis and Keith Thurman be fighting for the vacant belts, period. Right? So I think that Errol Spence stops Keith Thurman. I think their styles, Keith Thurman's style and his weakness is Errol Spence's strength. I think he stops Keith Thurman. When it comes to Terence Crawford, it's a 50-50 fight. And I can't wait to see how it all unfolds and plays out. But I'm excited for both, even if it's Errol Spence and Keith Thurman, right? That's a fight that I always wanted to see anyway. Better late than never, as long as we get the Terence Crawford fight on the back end of it. So let's see how it unfolds. And then Alexis Roca would be in the mix for the mandatory. So maybe we could get, there's 4 belts. So maybe we could get, Stanionis versus Boots, Alexis Roca versus Keith Thurman for those vacant belts. Put 2 belts up, the IBF and the WBA for Boots and Stanionis, and the WBC and the WBO for Keith Thurman and Alexis Roca after the winner vacates the belts. So let's see how it unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.